Now, I have been on a runaway quilting train, and I really don't want to stop because this momentum is exciting to me and I want to keep building up my skills. But we are also approaching Halloween and spooky times, and that's such a great time to make sexy lady clothes. But then I thought, why not take my urge to quilt and my urge to support a bosom and make them kiss. So I'm going to be making a prairie witch costume with a quilted hat and a quilted bodice. Best of both worlds. So first I am going to make my quilted fabric for the hat and then make that up using the pattern from Prairie Misfit. Then I'm going to take this simplicity pattern and adapt it a bit to be a more ahistorical general bodice and make it look sort of like this. This is my Canva mock-up, and then here's my drawing with markers. Okay, let's get started. Wow, it's so bright outside. Oh God, ugh. So I've got a couple of fantastic, very prairie-like fabrics. Some of that. Oh, ooh, yeah. The cat is going through something. So now what I'm going to do is just make a ton of half square triangles with them in different combinations and see if I can get to half a yard of fabric. I got this awesome resource at my local quilting shop. All-in-one quilter's reference tool. And it has this great method to make 8 half square triangles at once. So I'm just gonna try that in a bunch of different iterations and have fun creating shapes. Let's get cutting. Okay, girls, now the fun begins because we're about to iron. We're about to do some ironing. If you like to iron, you would love quilting. Let me tell you something. If you love to take something wrinkly and make it precise, quilting is for you. Quilting is for the precision girlies, the men who like to bring order into chaos. Okay, let's iron these girls up. I'm sorry it's so dark, but the sun is coming in so hot through these blinds. I had to close them. I finished connecting all my pieces and scoring where I'm going to sew. You create this X and then you sew a 1/4 inch away on either side of the lines of the X. And then you cut them up and down and you're left with half square triangles. Quilt math. Yay, I'm so excited. Because I don't have to use my brain. I just have to ding 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 ding. Guess what just arrived? I have had to get way more creative in terms of where I'm sourcing fabrics when I'm sewing things. We've all had to kind of become like costumers. So when I was looking for resources for couture, which is like a kind of herringbone thick fabric used in corset making, I found this resource called Richard the Thread in Los Angeles, which apparently resources a bunch of costumers in, I imagine, theater and film. But it was kind of an old school website. Like, they sent me an invoice, but I thought it was really cool to be able to order from, like, I don't know, like a real kind of big deal in the fabric world. So now I get to open it and take a look. Ooh. When I lived in New York, I had to go to the garment district to source fabric. That's simply asking too much. I don't want to be that much of a costumer because I don't want to have to haggle. This came from the land of Sheryl Crow. Yeah, it's super tough, no stretch, because a lot of the support comes from the fabric itself rather than just the boning. Yeah, this is the real deal. This is couture, honey. Good morning. Oh my God, I am glowing in the darkness. This looks like the opening of Pippin or that number in Seussical. Well, hello, this is your floating head speaking. I'm still in the midst of my half square triangle journey. So my goal today is to finish up all the half square triangles, sew them all together in the shape of like, roughly like a pillowcase. It's like half a yard of fabric is what the hat calls for. And then I'm gonna try to make the hat. Okay, let's quilt. Pew! So here's the pattern for the hat. So I'm gonna trace and make my own pattern pieces. I may increase the size of this hat a little bit. Yeah, then we should be good to go. I like it. I could just stop here. I feel like a little gnome. I reached the I don't wanna be around anymore phase in this current project. I've been sewing for so many hours. No. Okay, I'll show you what I did. I made this thing. So I made enough to be this shape, the cone shape. It's the cone shape, it's the top shape. I guess I'm gonna cut it out, put it on some interfacing, and then I'll have my cone. Then I need to make this, but two of them. And then that'll be that. I don't know when we'll see each other again. Okay, I love you, bye. Hello, darling. Nice to see you.
It's been a long time, you're just as
Today, I'm going to sew up all of these awesome little blocks I made for the brim and finish the hat. Is that a song? Always finish the hat. I'm seeing Mandy Patinkin in my mind's eye. Ooh, what's it called? Sunday in the Park with George. Okay, well, today I'll be Mandy Patinkin. Finish the hat. Let's do it. I love you so much. Okay, we have basic shape of hat. I added a lining to the bottom. Now I'm gonna sew these puppies together. Okay, this shouldn't be easy because connecting two curved things is kind of cursed. It's like adding a sleeve. But I've got these handy dandy clips and we're gonna try our best. All right, a perfect fit. Nice. Oh, God. Now we're moving into corset land. So I have this pair of stays that I made from the same pattern that I'm going to be using. So I'm considering this kind of my mock-up, but I'm planning to do fewer boning channels because this boy is boned to the hilt. So what I'm going to do is take this and do the same shape, except put this laced opening in the front and change up the shape of the little strap nubs a little bit. I think I'll extend those further on the side of the breasts. I like working on stays. I don't think they're all that challenging. Pew! Bad news, I learned something. I have to make the top layer and the bottom under layer of the corset at the same time. I can't make the under one and then put the top one on top. It has to be both. Bunch of bullshit. So that means I'm quilting more. Maybe I could use Sarah Plain and Tall as like a tarot reading to give me motivation or to give me advice. Sarah Plain and Tall, what inspiration should I take in this next point of my journey? A scallop, she told us, picking up the shells one by one. A sea clam, an oyster, a razor clam, and a conch shell. If you put it in your ear, you can hear the sea. What do I take from that? I think I need to reconnect with things I love, allow myself to be sad. Yeah, try to reconnect with some pleasure. Okay, I'm going to see if I can connect with my seashell collection of the soul. I went to a quilt shop to re-up on this red for all of the corset paneling, but then I found this red and I was like, oh, I like this so much more. And then I found a couple of other fabrics which I adore that I've sprinkled in. For example, this one, which reminds me a lot of Mary Engelbreit drawings. And this one, which is just like pink prairie, which I think is really cute. So my plan right now is to sew up these two blocks and then sew them to this fabric and make sort of a fabric panel, cut them out and make the red exterior version of these guys. Right now my faith level in the project is really low, but I think that's because of simply where I am in it. Why is it? It looks like I'm like begging you to let me out of jail. Oh, let me take some more inspiration from Sarah Plain and Tall. That really helped me last time I looked at it. Only my highest and best are welcome in this reading. Sarah Plain and Tall. How should I approach this day of work? I don't know if nasturtiums would grow here. Try, said Maggie. You must have a garden. Maybe that's where I am right now, thinking, I don't know if these flowers are going to grow. But Maggie says, try, you must have a garden. Try, you must have a garden. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let me out. Try. We must have a garden. Look how sick this is. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, now to make version 2. All right, we've got our chest pieces done, and now I need to cut out these shapes in this red, inlay this, and then just regular cut all the other slices. Oh my gosh, and then construction of the stays really begins. We are doing it, our garden is growing. I have had a long and restful weekend. Let's check in with what I got done before I started it. I finished cutting out the exterior fashion layer and have pinned it to the interior coutil lining. Look how cool that looks. So pretty, right? I'm really hoping it looks nice when all is said and done. What I'm planning to do now is sew them up together on the edges. Then I'm going to add the grommets and the boning channel down the center so that they can be laced up. Then I will be in a place to sew them together kind of casually and try it on and see if anything needs to be adjusted for the fit. Off we go. Let's see how she fits. And I don't have shoulder straps yet. I don't have that yet. Not too bad. Not too shabby. There's some bunching in the back, which I can look up how to help. But I think this is looking pretty good. Pretty cool. Today is gonna be a factory shift, girls, okay? We're gonna be clocking in. I have so much to do. I'm already depressed about it. Okay, I need to add shoulder straps because the original pattern only has these like historically accurate bias tape. It's not a strap. So I'm taking this pair of Regency stays that I made in 2020, and I'm going to use this strap as a pattern to add my own. I'm going to sew the boning channels. I'm going to cut and tip the spiral steel for boning. And then I'm going to add bias binding, which I either need to purchase or make. I'd rather make it for the look and the feel, but I may have to purchase it for my sanity. Shoulder straps have been made and lengthened once it became clear they were too short. Oh, and I added grommets to the front little armpit areas to attach to the shoulder straps, which have their own grommets. Now the journey is boning. And this... Did this camera just talk to me? And this... What the chalked up to unexplained. Anyway, here's where it gets a little industrial. This is steel spiral boning. So what I'm gonna do is create some boning channels, and then I'm going to measure out what length of boning I need, and then I can cut the exact length I need with a very demure tool. This guy. So I'm going to trim it and then add a little tip onto the edge and crimp it in place so that the sharp edges don't needle their way into the fabric and scrape that up. This is going to be tedious as but it feels so satisfying to slide in the boning. We're all adults. That hopefully it'll all be worth it. I have been trying it on to check the fit, the bodice, and it's pretty sexy hot, pretty cool. Okay, so stay tuned for that. In the meanwhile, unfortunately, we're becoming the steel workers of America. Keep chasing that rainbow.